Burns.
Yay! And Monica is Italian, so I'm very loud. So if you're in the back and you can't hear me, then I'll use the mic.
Fan favorite
book. Okay, well,
what's your most popular release?
my bestseller is Forever Mine. If you've read Jude Devereaux's A Knight in Shining Armor, you'll love the book.
Excellent.
So I've sold out. Sorry.
Which
But,
is good. Which is good.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't sell out. My latest release is Scandalous, which is if you like Marvel Universe. The hero is blind and he does martial arts and he works for the Crown hunting. Forever Mine, I've listened to it on audio and every time I have to fast forward the smutty parts because I go like, oh my God, I can't believe I wrote that. So,
The kids are in the car.
So favorite trope, I really don't follow tropes. I mean, I can't tell you, I just write the book.
What's your favorite thing to write?
Smut.
Well, most of my books have paranormal elements in them, like psychics. Well, the Rockwood series is all psychic.
Psychic was one of our words, if you found that one.
Oh, was it on there?
I think it might not be on yours, but I think so. They're randoms. Everybody gets random. I started out writing medieval comedies. All of my heroes are Scottish.
Get out of here, medieval.
That's a word.
You say medieval?
I write medieval comedies, and then I moved into Victorian comedies. Okay.
They also dress?
Yes. I have. Shit. I'm just trying to.
But did she say the SH word?
I think that was one of the things.
Okay, you know what? Okay, that's fine. Because I'm going to say fuck.
Monica, you like them all.
Do you like a lot of sex? Do you define it?
Are we talking about books? What's happening there?
Pretty old lady is fine.
I like both. I think I like historical because there is a story always around it, right? You know what I mean? So it can be as spicy as you like, but as long as it's like interwoven with some stuff. So that's mine.
I have not put it. My ancient Rome is my ultimate love, but they don't sell. So obviously I want to sell. But I had a paranormal series where I brought ancient Rome into contemporary time, but they might as well be ancient Romans because they practice the pagan practices and they go around with swords and execute people and all sorts of stuff like that. But
Less fun. What's the name of it?
it's the Order of the Sicarii, and I'm actually pitching later on today the historical bringing, because they come from ancient Rome all the way through to modern day. So I'm going to try and pitch a Victorian stage group because I just love these heroes. I mean, I love virgin heroes. I've got 2 or 3 of those. Courtesans, I'm a huge fan of courtesans. If you want an independent woman, courtesan is the way to go because they had the money, the control, and they saved their money. Most of them. Cora Pearl did a lousy job with her money.
Dangerous Beauty. If
Yeah.
any of you saw that?
Yeah,
That-
Veronica.
Yeah,
Veronica, I can't remember her last name. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with everything.
What era are you writing in, Caroline?
So I write the medieval Highlands and Victorians. So these are I actually started writing sweet historical westerns, which are Victorians. Then I moved from there to the Highlands with my lairds and my kilts and fun things like that. And then I have my Scottish heroes are now Victorians. So that's, I guess, what I would say I like writing. I do love medieval. Victorian is more what I studied. But I think medieval is really cool because it's really fucking cool because you could just, it's so fun. You could just mess around with so many things. It's just, the medieval period I think was neat and original. It's what my undergrad degree was in. And primarily because of historical romance, right? In the 90s, I fell in love with this time period. And yeah, anyhow.
Can we tie your hands when you talk?
No. It's actually here. Caroline does a hand gesture because I knew what happened.
I was just wondering if
I also did Caroline Mimes the Sexual Act.
there she does that, yeah, right? What is it? What would you do if you were gonna, how was it this you were doing?
I did it already. You missed it. It was like...
My ears are burning. No. All right, let me ask this question because this is an interesting question if you think about it. Female guy going down on girl, that was not necessarily a real thing down, it was women going down on the guy. So,
Well, how do you know?
guys, I did my research.
We just didn't talk about it.
When she was looking up the floor, she was looking up that.
She was already there. She knows
Cunnilingus, I mean fork.
I cannot pronounce that word for the life of me.
So you think that no man went down?
Oh, no. I'm not saying that no man did that. I'm just saying, as a general rule, it was not as popular
Well, it's,
as a
well,
no, I think it's more popular.
you deserve it, ladies.
Yes, the man did.
Well, I fucking love early Victorian, late Regency, and I'm sorry, my books have sex all through them. There is guy going down on girl, girl going down on the guy. They are fingering. They're over the desk. They're in the carriage. I think over the
Carriage
desk.
sex is
I
some of
like
the best.
over the
Over the desk.
Seriously,
Carriage sex is some of the best.
And the carriage desk.
Because they're
yes.
so
You think
small.
the bouncing adds to the
Rhythm.
Get a good rut?
And you got enough to say there.
And they're like, Rogers, what's around the block again?
No, look at that open.
And he's like, yes.
So I just thought I'd get on the fuck bandwagon.
So my fucking story is I started in the Regency and I've moved them along. I'm currently at about 1834 now because I started and then people, I kept them in line and my little wiener dog sometimes he will pop up in different years. And occasionally, I had one reviewer send me a thing that said, seriously, you have a wiener dog named Peaches in more than one of your books? But anyway, yeah, so I'm Regency and I'm like, but it's fun because the clothes change and then you have to figure out, what else is changing here, as you move year by year. And that's where you're writing and you're like, okay, I'm getting 3,000 words today, and then you look at it and like you realize an hour has passed and you've been looking up
Forks.
or doorknobs. That was the big argument was doorknobs.
You get 3,000 words a day?
I'm exaggerating.
Okay.
I'm really good at exaggerating.
I'll sit there and look at 500 words and go, okay, the day's gone,
But I'll say my thing about sex in my books is I'm working on locations, and I did find a really fun location for my last release, Raining Rakes, because I'm researching to go to England, and so I was researching the Tower, and apparently they have these little confessionals off of the Tower Church in there, and so they did have mass there, and so that was a fun one. So, but that's not
They
the
have
right
those in
problem.
Italy if you want to put a book in Italy.
On the way back, is there a time period you don't write in that you would like to?
I would like to write women's fiction, and I would like to do contemporary, just because I feel like sometimes you do get kind of locked in the historical stuff. I loved watching Outlander, but I don't know, I'm too fussy to be in the medieval. I want, more comfortable beds. I love reading some medieval, but yeah, definitely, I think I've watched the Colin Firth Pride and Prejudice 100 times. That one, that's my ultimate one. And then, I don't know if any of you watch, there's some movies coming out right now, like The Gentleman and Fool Me Once, but The Gentleman, they have that Duke, the second brother inherits the Duke thing. That was a major issue for me. Because a second brother, you cannot put it in the
Pulling this
wheel.
apart the other day.
I know, I was just like, you cannot put it in the wheel that the second brother can be the Duke. That doesn't hapen. But I love watching all the
still alive.
scenery. If you like the scenery and stuff,
Won't you write? Or you don't want to write?
I feel like I would love to write medieval, but there's so much history I feel like you have to incorporate with that, and I feel like that's yes, and that's definitely not in my wheelhouse. So I'll leave that to experts over here.
The trick is just to not give a date.
just let you all guess where you are.
I want Caroline to answer a question for me. When I was growing up, we camped every single weekend, and I know what body odor is like.
Yes.
And I do not want, that's why I do not do medievals. How bad was it?
Well, I actually wasn't there.
Bad about it. I'm just saying, because I do.
Everybody stinks. So
not in contemporary time.
Oh no, in the medieval.
Okay, but I was thinking it was worse,
Well, it actually also has to do with what you eat and what your activities are, and you're gonna have
Your
different. Your teeth are gonna be different in the medieval period because if you go back there, no, your teeth are gonna be the same actually if you go back. And I write comedies and I mess around with a lot, so I've got a lot of jokes that are anachronistic in there. I've got the heroines being like, "What do you mean women shave all their hair off. That's off their place. That's why would you do that? Somebody else goes, probably for a man. You know, that's, so you can make fun of that sort of stuff. I will say the one I would not write is Regency, because y'all are anal. I can fuck around with things without, yes. And I will say there's a lot of difference between the Regency period and the Victorian period. By the time we get to the Victorian period, we've got trains that are running multiple times a day. We've got mail is being delivered on the hour, every hour. We know about all sorts,
It depends on what era of Victorian too. We're talking
it's a big era.
Middle Victorian era is a lot different than the late
1899.
Right.
Still
So, you know, that has a difference there too.
I want to just give a shout out. I do have 40 contemporaries under this name. They're lots of fun. They don't have sex. But I'm starting a super secret monster pen name. So if you read Monsters. So if you read Monsters, come find me after and I'll see if I've got any more paperback. They're
We've been
contemporaries.
talking monsters for months now.
Okay, not talking about monsters. What goes behind your research for these time eras? Do you like read textbooks? Do you look at blogs? Like, what is it that helps you with your research for these books?
Yeah, I researched so intensely. I rely on you guys to tell us
Do
what's up.
you research for different voices, different accents, different?
Yeah, I mean, well, because you guys normally it'll either be he's proper British, proper English, RP speaks very well, or it'd be Scottish. And so my thing on that is if he's a Highlander, he'll be a bit more rough around the edges than some other ones.
Can we make you say something? In both of
Into the
those?
microphone, for
Yeah,
sure.
here, what's something? Okay, here's say historical romance bingo panel in both of those.
In like a
Rough Highlander.
Oh, so like a normal Scottish would just be a little bit more like this, so it'd be a little softer, I think, and you can hear him, and he'd say historical romance panel bingo. And then if I'm gonna be a Highlander, then it's gotta be a lot more rough around the edges. It's a historical romance panel bingo, which is probably maybe a bit more Glaswegian in modern times. Like, I'll be honest, I don't research my folks and my cunnilingus that well, so I tend to.
I love you when you say that word.
So I tend to go, like, I don't give, I mean, maybe this is bad of me, but I don't give a specific era kind of thing, or specific, the accent kind of goes with the character, and so I'm not going to be like, oh, he's from this Perth in Scotland, versus, it's like Edinburgh's softer than Glasgow, and that's kind of where I go. The guy's got to be rougher and Highlandy, then it's going to be a bit more grody, and it's kind of there. And then, if it's more sophisticated, then it's softer, so.
How do you feel knowing that people have masturbated to your books?
I sleep easy at night, knowing that I am doing the Lord's work. I decide on that.
I should have brought a vibrator for
What question were we actually on? This got diverted.
What goes behind the research?
Oh yeah, your research into.
For me, research involves, I have 3 bookcases of books that people would like, oh, they sound like really boring. And I'm like, well, I use them for XXX. If I don't remember what something has to be, I will go to the book and I'll research it. I will also research on the internet, and I will find educational sources. And I have to have at least three educational or research type of things that are, very close in terms of actuality. It's very important to me because it makes a difference, I think, in the overall ambiance of the book. Because if you are reading something and you get thrown out, like if I said, well, they texted, you would get thrown out, right? that's...
The second son inherits.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That had me fall into this thing saying, did I miss something somewhere? I'm like, I know that's wrong.
You're talking about the guy who was still alive, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wasn't declared incompetent or anything, but
I could see where they would maybe make him the
executive,
the guy that handled all the money and stuff in a will, but
They made him
I can't, not giving him the title.
Character study. Inspiration. Rabbit hole. Exploration. Who put that in?
You know what? Some of the best
I'm just
research though
sorry.
for when you go into writing historicals is just I just read all of Mary Bellogg's backlist completely like several times, and then you get it, and then you think, but I want a story that does this and this, and so then sometimes you hit something historically that will draws out your entire plot. It changes the whole thing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
oh,
You're like,
oh, if this is like this, and I mean, and it actually creates like you find something different. Like I didn't know that, so it's really fun to build on that, and it's the story, but it could never happen if you didn't like run into something, you know. Like I did one with my Cocky Earl book. I was researching. She's an American heiress coming over, and I was researching the Regency time period in America, which I hadn't done. Apparently, I didn't listen to my history teacher, but I was just like all the stuff going on with whiskey and whiskey taxes at that time was really fun to just, you know, so then of course I had lots of whiskey and scotch in that one. You know, now I know I was a bartender at the time too, so I'd be like, all right, what kind of whiskey do you want, with an E or not?
Yeah.
Well, there's only one way. I can't remember which one, but I know that the Scots get really upset if you do it the wrong way.
Yes.
There's
I don't
no
remember which
E
one
in
it is.
Scotch
No
whiskey.
E, yeah.
I just wing it. No, I'm teasing. I do a lot of reading. I read other authors. I just kind of do a lot of internet research. And basically, that's pretty much it. And then the rest of it I wing. So, no, I'm teasing. I don't.
I think the key is, I have another TED Talk here. No, so social history, right? We all know, so I've got a master's degree in social history. Social history is the lives people led rather than the actions that dictated their lives. We're not studying battles, we're studying what they wore and what they ate. That's social history, right? Historical fiction is applied social history, and historical romance is the best because it always ends happily ever after, right? So when I'm writing a book, I'm not researching. I know the era, I know what's going on, I have the basic understanding, and anytime I hit something that I don't know, this is I put 3 X's at XXX right after
TK.
TK, because I know that it's never going to appear naturally in my manuscript, right? So at the end of the book, that's when I go back through and I search all the XX. I'm like, holy shit,
Just so you don't find one of those
200 of them or whatever. And then I have to go through and that's when I'm like, when the fuck was the fork invented? You know? And so
I don't remember.
So, well, yeah. I do all of that after I've written the book. And half the time, if I can't come up with a good solution, I'll just take the sentence out of the book.
No, I agree. I've done that too. If you can't find it, because there's a lot of stuff that you're just not going to find that kind of detail unless you're like in some British museum, I think.
And then you put it randomly into another book. You're like, oh, I gotta put that in a book somewhere.